You can plan to attend our club once your season is over. Sign up online and see Mrs. Newbauer if you have any questions. Today is a B-Day. Please stand to say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a great day.
Okay, welcome. B-Day today, September 21st. It's a miniature golf day.
Ooh,
Mini golf.
I like miniature golf.
Yeah. We have the same target as yesterday. We're doing a lot of obtaining information, more information about cells. Okay. For those of you who were gone yesterday, I can get you the notes from yesterday. I believe I already gave it to the people that were. If anybody else who was gone yesterday, I can get you those notes. Okay. Which brings me to another point. Just so I can, if you are ever gone because you're quarantined due to COVID protocols, like you're not technically, if you're not sick, like you don't have symptoms, but you came into close contact, okay, I will have the Google Meet, or I will record or try to record my classes on Google Meet and then send you the stuff, or it'll be on Schoology, so I'll show you where that is. Let me quick do that. So we're on Schoology, right? Here's the science front page. You should see this thing that says video lessons here. So I'll try to include, so like yesterday I put our video lesson in from, we did the textbook assignment and we did cell notes. All right. So if you are gone, you can check there. Or I'll put it, and I'll try to put it in the days folder so that people are able to see it. Now, if you're ever gone and you want to watch those and stay caught up, you'll see that the video is going to be close to like an hour long because our class is an hour long. You can fast forward through some of the things, rewind, pause, watch it on 1.5 speed or whatever, and you can get that information that way. Okay. So if you are ever wondering about, hey, I was gone, I'm on quarantine, what can I do to stay caught up? That's what you can do. Okay. Always check Schoology. All right. So let's get back into what we were talking about. Right here. You will be successful when you can tell me all 3 main parts of all cells, which you should have been able to do yesterday, and describe the functions of the cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. Okay, so here we go. Today's learning target is target 8. Let's scroll down. All right, what is the name of the structure that surrounds the cell? Oops, I should have had a question mark there. It is a thin phospholipid bilayer that protects the cell, gives it support and structure, and controls what goes in and out of the cell. And then I had a question there. That's not right. Aiden, what do you think?
The cell membrane?
Cell membrane, absolutely correct. That is on the outer, that's the outer portion of the cell. Gives it support, protection, and controls what goes in and out. All right, the blank is the control center of the cell. It's almost like the brain of the cell. Go ahead, Faith. Nucleus. All right, and then what do you like tacos? And then of course you like tacos. Of course you like tacos. That's the only correct answer. Just kidding. Anyway, there you go. That's the warm-up. So today we got some things to catch up on. What I want you to do first is to get out your notebook. Okay, get out your notebook, get out your notebook, get out your notebook. Get out a textbook from below you. Yes. What, dude? Can't hear you now.
I have seen some graffiti that is not school appropriate.
Okay, I'll go take a look then. It happens.
Like this.
Just a sec. Turn to page 20.
I don't have one.
That's from years ago, man. Can't do much about it.
Oh, I
Thank you, though.
like just noticed it, so I thought
Yep.
it was fresh.
It's all right. It's all good.
That's all.
All right, turn to page 20. I'll try to keep this as lively as possible today, everybody.
And do you have it as
I do, yes. I do. Yeah, I might need a short minute. Okay, so we're on page 20. We have to make this one up because we didn't get it done the last week because we had to move on through some things. So, what are the needs of organisms? It's on page 20. Okay, what are the needs of organisms?
Or I feel like today I read the Yes, I know.
All right, what are the needs of organisms? Ready? Here we go. So, everybody here? Everybody got notebook paper and have it labeled. Right now, label it. Name. Page 20 and 21. Questions 1 through 7. Okay, what are the needs of organisms? Is the question we're asking today. Our objective is to identify and describe the needs of living things. Key terms. Autotroph. An organism that can make its own food. Auto. You should see the word auto in there, like automatic. And then the last part is troph. And then we have heterotroph. Heterotroph. So you see troph in there. The first part, the prefix is hetero. This is an organism that cannot make its own food. All right, those two are opposites of each other. Then we have homeostasis. Homeostasis. This is a process of keeping conditions inside a body constant, no matter the conditions outside the body. All right. So energy, here we go. This is the first paragraph. Again, you can be filling out the questions, writing in complete sentences as we go. All right. Energy. All organisms need energy to grow. Organisms obtain energy from the foods they eat. Some organisms make their own food. They are called autotrophs. Plants are an example of autotrophs. Other organisms cannot make their own food. They are called heterotrophs. Humans are heterotrophs. So plants make their own food. Yes, they eat food, but they have to make it. You do not. Autotroph, heterotroph. That's the difference. Okay? Then the question they ask us right here, why is a lion called a heterotroph? Pretty obvious. A lion has to eat food. It can't make its own. Okay? And when they say make their own food, you going to the kitchen and making easy math does not count as making your own food, right?
What?
That food, you don't actually create food in your body by absorbing the sun. That's what plants do. Okay? You have to obtain food and eat it. Okay? Now, the next part is titled water. Okay? Water. Organisms also need water. Without water, all plants and animals would die. Plants use water to make food. About 2/3 of your body is water. We've talked about that a little bit. Most substances dissolve in water. That would mean they're soluble. These dissolved substances can then be transported throughout a living thing. Most chemical changes in living things need water to take place. Water, obviously, a very important part of you. Okay? If you didn't know that already, now you do. Pretty sure you knew that already, though. Water is necessary for life. Okay? Here is a prickly pear cactus. Stores water. Okay? Obviously, a desert. What's unique about a desert? Yeah, Avery.
It's constantly dry.
Yeah, super dry, not any rain. Okay, so cactuses have to store that water for long periods of time, right? Okay, good, makes sense, right? Anybody want to read about air? Go ahead, Avery.
Without oxygen, air.
Yep.
Without oxygen, most living things would die in minutes. Air is a mixture of gases. Oxygen is one of the gases in air. Oxygen is needed by most living things to change food into energy. Land organisms get oxygen from the air. Water organisms get oxygen from the water. The oxygen is dissolved in the water. Carbon dioxide is another gas found in the air. Animals release carbon dioxide when we breathe. Plants use carbon dioxide
All right, very good. Air also necessary. Oxygen is necessary for you to breathe in, and you also need oxygen to change your food into energy. Pretty crazy, right? So you eat food, and that oxygen helps to take that food and help you do things like walk, talk, run, throw, anything. Oxygen is necessary for you. Cool. Thank you, Avery. Temperature. Anybody want to read about temperature? Go ahead, Brock.
The temperature of the environment is important to living things. Organisms need a proper temperature to live. Most organisms could live only within a small temperature range if they are not to homeostasis. Homeostasis is the process of keeping conditions inside an organism constant, no matter the conditions outside. When changes in temperature or other parts of the environment occur, homeostasis keeps things working properly inside a living thing.
Very good. All right, homeostasis. Very important word there. Homeostasis. It's a long one. But basically, what it is, your body is always trying to maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis is keeping things constant. All right. So, an example of this. Humans are warm-blooded, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Humans are warm-blooded. Mammals are warm-blooded. That means what? What does warm-blooded mean? You may know, or you just heard that before. What does warm-blooded mean? Or when you get a temperature check, what do you want your temperature to be, or what should it be? Aiden.
Wait, I have an answer to the first question.
First question, go ahead, bud.
A warm-blooded animal is an animal that can regulate its body heat on its own.
Mm-hmm. And it
Without
stays.
like sun.
What's that?
Without like sun or shade, like reptiles and stuff.
Bingo,
and
yeah.
it will stay the same temperature.
Yep, stay around the same temperature. What is that temperature supposed to be for humans? What's your body temperature? Yeah, I agree.
It's like 98 point something.
It's 98.6 is the ideal human body temperature. So
You can get a low grade.
Okay, so that means your blood inside your body is 98.6 degrees. Pretty hot, right? Constantly, even when right now it's in this room, probably what, like 70? Okay, or when it's cold outside, your body wants to maintain that. All right. Now, like Aiden mentioned, how do reptiles have to maintain that homeostasis? We're about to read about it. They have to go into the sun. They're cold-blooded and they sit and bask in the sun. Anyone ever seen like a turtle basking in the sun?
I've seen a turtle balanced on a log in the middle of the stomach. It was just like this.
Yep. So I drive by Shadow Lake once in a while,
Hold it
and in the morning they're trying to soak up those sun rays and stay warm. Okay.
Yeah, that's why you call it sunbathing.
Yep. All right. So you, on the other hand, don't need that. But your body has to maintain homeostasis in order to function. If you go outside and it's cold, why do you think you start to shiver? Casey.
Because the warm, our warm from our body is going away.
Kind of. Why are we shivering? Why do you go outside, or your teeth start to chatter and you go, do you do that on purpose? What do you think, Dave?
It's actually your body warming itself up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an attempt to warm your body up, right? When you move around, your body temperature, it rises, okay? All right, so let's say the opposite. It's really hot outside. You step outside and you're going for a jog or you're playing a sport or whatever. What's going to happen to you? It's like 85 degrees. What's happening to your body? What's going to happen so that you don't overheat? Because people do this all the time. What's going to happen? All right, Carter, you're playing a football game tonight. And Wes. And whoever else, Josh.
I'm playing a football game, but in Europe.
Okay.
And I get to leave early.
All right. So, and football. All right, what's going to happen? It's really hot. You got all these pads on, or you got your shin guards on, or whatever. What happens to your body, Carter? What's up?
It's trying to cool down.
It's going to try to cool down. How does it do that?
Sweat.
What was that?
Sweat.
Sweat. Okay. So a lot of people think sweat is like, oh, this is gross. Okay. All right. Have you ever, though, in the summer, played outside, got really sweaty, and then came back inside in the air conditioning, and all of a sudden, what did you feel like?
Oh, freezing.
Really, really cold. That's your body's attempt to cool itself down. Sweating is your body's attempt at homeostasis. All right? Trying to keep that same body temperature, right? Okay? Everybody understand that? Okay? Your body is constantly trying to remain at a constant state. Pretty cool that it does it. Do you have to think about sweating? Do you have to tell your body, all right, I need to sweat now?
No.
Do you need to think about shivering
No.
when you go outside? No.
It's an automatic response.
It's an automatic response. Your body maintaining homeostasis.
Thank you for giving us the answer to number 6 right now.
Okay. All right. Cold-blooded animals do not have a constant body temperature. I'm reading the next paragraph. Their body temperatures change as the temperature of their surroundings change. To maintain homeostasis, cold-blooded animals must change their surroundings. There you go. A lizard is an example of a cold-blooded animal. When a lizard gets cold, it must warm itself in the sun. When it gets too warm, it must cool down in the shade. Okay, that's why you'll see lizards just sit in the sun and kind of just bask there and do nothing.
And then they'll get up and go to the
Yep.
shade.
Yep. All right. Sorry. Here we go. This part is something we just talked about. Warm-blooded animals have a constant body temperature. When temperatures in the environment change, a warm-blooded animal's body temperature stays about the same. This happens automatically without the animal having to think about it. So
Right.
that makes sense too, right? You don't have to go outside and be like, all right,
Come sweat.
my blood needs to, my body temperature needs to rise or fall. It just does it on its own. Pretty crazy. All right, last section is titled living space. All organisms need a place to live or living space. In order for an organism to survive, its living space must provide all of its needs. These include food, water, air, and shelter. Food, water, air, and shelter. 4 important things for life. Food, water, air, and shelter. The living space also has to be at the proper temperature. In any environment, living space is limited. All the organisms in the environment compete for resources in their living space. They compete for food, water, sunlight, and shelter. Okay? So that's a living space must provide food, water, air, and shelter. All right, let's go through the questions together. Remember, you're writing these in complete sentences. Number 1. Zach, can you read that for me? Number 1.
Most chemical changes in living things cannot take place without.
All right, do you know the answer to that? No? All right, if someone want to help them out, can't take place without what? Okay. Water. All right, very good. So most chemical changes in living things cannot take place without water. The nutrients in things need to be taken to your body. They dissolve in water. The things that you eat, those nutrients get broken down. They dissolve in water. Okay, number 2, we just talked about this in the last paragraph. Danny, go ahead and read that.
What?
Number 2.
Okay. In any environment, blank is limited.
You got the answer to that?
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, living space.
Living space. Very good, Danny. In any environment, living space is limited. There's not unlimited living space.
Or is there? There's several Earth. There's more planets. You could just do how we started, how Earth started back to that.
Sure, maybe.
Wait, what was it again?
Living space. In any environment, living space is limited. Number 3. Olivia, can you read number 3, please?
Blank can make their own food.
Okay, blank can make their own food. What is it? You take a look in the key terms.
Autotrophs.
Yeah, autotrophs, or I would accept plants too. Autotrophs can make their own food. There are some organisms that, like single-celled organisms, can make their own food too. Autotrophs can make their own food. Auto. So the way I remember it is automatic. Automatic. They automatically make their own food. You cannot, on the other hand. All right, number 4. Michaela, can you read that for us?
Fish get oxygen from the blood,
Where do they get it from?
the water.
Water, yep. Fish get oxygen from water. Makes sense, right? So they can breathe underwater, but they still are obtaining that oxygen. Number 5. We kind of hammered this point pretty hard. Dougie, can you read number 5 for us?
One keeps conditions constant inside a living thing.
You know what word that should go there? What keeps things constant?
The temperature.
Nope, not temperature. You want to maintain the same temperature. Take a look at the bottom word in the key terms.
Homeostasis.
Yep, homeostasis. That is what keeps things constant. Your body is constantly trying to maintain homeostasis. Okay. Number 6, infer. Ooh, look at this.
We talked about this.
We did talk about this. How do you think shivering and perspiring, what's perspiring mean?
Sweating,
Yeah, it's a fancy word for sweating.
sweating, smelling.
Shivering and perspiring are related to homeostasis. So somebody want to explain that to me in their own words? How are they related to homeostasis? Brock, short and sweet. Got to make it concise.
I think it is related because it is your body's attempt at homeostasis.
Okay, how?
Sweating cools you down, and shaking and shivering tries to warm you up.
Bingo. All right, so something like that. Shivering and perspiring are your body's attempt to maintain your body temperature, right? So I would write that. Something like that. Shivering and perspiring are your body's ways of maintaining temperature. You might think, oh man, sweating is gross. But then after a while, you will think if you couldn't sweat, you would overheat and die.
Dying by.
Imagine, dying by overheating because your body can't cool itself off.
That sounds
Sweating.
horrible.
Yeah, it does sound horrible. So when you think,
Ooh. Ooh, delicious.
okay, everybody good with number 6? Okay, number 7, hypothesize. Weston, can you read number 7 for us?
What might happen to an organism when its living space is destroyed?
All right, what do you think would happen to an organism if its living space is destroyed, West?
I just said they would most likely pass.
There you go. That's bingo. A lot of students are afraid to say that. If an organism's living space is destroyed, it's probably going to die. You can hypothesize that.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, maybe you can hypothesize that it's going to go try to find another one. That's why we are concerned about destroying habitats of animals. If their living space is destroyed, it's probably going to die.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Aiden's like, yeah. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah. Wait, no, that's not good. Stop. No, it's not.
Very good. That's a good job hypothesizing, Wes. All right.
That was the first thing that I told him when I read it. I was like, it's either gonna die or it's gonna go try to find some more nail, or it's gonna die.
All right. Everybody good there? Questions?
Well, spiders, it's very true.
Okay.
Why is it
Because it's got to be flipped. All right, so we have now looked at these 4. Okay. We have checked over all of them. Nice job. Okay. Now what I want you to do is stand up. I'm giving you a 2-minute, move around break. 2-minute move around break. You're going to keep your notebook out. Your textbook can go below your desk for now.
I still hate allergies.
Hi.
The only way
Sorry about that.
You're okay, man. Totally okay. Totally okay.
Oh, Avery. Oh.
All right, you got about 15 seconds to return. Then I need you to get out your notes that you took on your three main parts of a cell. Cool.
You made them for me.
Yeah, you're a lucky duck. All right, get out these notes that you took or I gave you. All right, so yesterday we talked about the three main parts of a cell. All cells have these, whether they are plant cells or animal cells. Tomorrow we will be looking at both plant cell and an animal cell. That'd be our onion and cheek. Okay, onion cell and cheek cell. An onion obviously would be a plant cell, right? It comes from a plant. And the cheek would be an animal cell because you are an animal. Okay, so, all right, we talked about the three main parts. What do we got? What are our three main parts, Olivia? What's one of them? One of our three main parts. Cell membrane. Very good. How about the next one, Sophia? Nucleus. Very good. And the final one that we're going to talk about, yeah, Brock.
Cytoplasm.
Cytoplasm. Very good. Those three main things. Here was the diagram that we drew. Okay, or that you can draw. I drew a little bit different one on the board yesterday that included looking at the phospholipid bilayer. Okay, basically you need to remember these three things. The cell membrane is the outer portion that gives support, shape, structure, and protection to the cell. The nucleus is a circular or spherical object in the cell that is basically the brain of the cell, control center of the cell. The cytoplasm fills the cell. It's like gel. It's jelly-like. Hair gel. Okay? Aiden, what you got? What's up? Oh, pencil? Yeah.
What?
Did he give you?
No.
Oh.
That's the one that.
Oh, you want to sharpen your pencil?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said. I thought you literally just said.
Wait
No. Go sharpen your pencil. Oh my
a
gosh.
minute.
Okay, all right.
I said.
I know, I didn't.
Yesterday.
I mean, it was like it was my fault. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely my fault. What's up?
Sorry. What if someone somehow found out how to split that in half and then expose the hydrophobic part to the water?
What do you think would happen?
We would die.
The cell dies.
The cell would die. That particular cell would not live. All right. Y'all good?
Yeah, just biology.
Okay. All right. We're gonna watch a short video from the Amoeba Sisters. I like these ladies a lot. They're pretty cool.
I don't know why they're alive in osmosis field.
Quiet, please. Oh, I don't want to.
Those molecules can't just.
All right, here we go. This is about the cell membrane. If you want to add things to your notes, feel free to do so.
In my second year of teaching, I was looking to improve an osmosis lab I had done the year previously. Osmosis, if you remember from our osmosis video,
We have not talked about
involves
osmosis
water
yet.
traveling through a semi-permeable membrane, potentially a cell membrane. And I wanted a cool way that students could model this in different scenarios. And one of my colleagues told me about this egg lab. I won't get into the whole lab though. It was actually one of the first steps of the procedure that got to me. To get ready for the lab, my colleague told me, you can soak eggs in vinegar for 24 to 48 hours and the shell comes off. Oh, so I need to make hard-boiled eggs then. No, raw eggs. But if the shell comes off, well, that's the whole point. What's underneath the shell is going to mimic a cell membrane. It's kind of modeling how a cell membrane would function. You know, if the whole egg was actually like a cell. So then you run different scenarios with it for your osmosis lab because it will be a semi-permeable membrane, like a cell membrane. I couldn't visualize this. If the shell comes off, but it's a raw egg, how does it stay together? So I have this area in my house that's designated for things for me to try out. Don't worry, I always clean up afterwards. I tried this experiment out in advance, just to be sure. The hard shell is removed, but the membrane that was always there remains. We often visualize the membrane of a cell this way, like this membrane around the chicken egg. The cell membrane is semi-permeable, meaning it lets some materials through, but not others. We have an entire video all about cell transport and how materials can pass through the membrane. A cell could never be as large as a single chicken egg, though. Why? Well, it turns out surface area is a very important thing. Remember that surface area determines the surface measurements of that cell membrane, and the cell membrane controls what goes in and out of cells. That includes food coming in, as well as molecules that are essential for metabolic processes, and then also waste going out. If volume, which is all this space inside, increases, then you will have more need for surface area, as you will have more need for food to enter, more of a need for waste to be removed, and more metabolic reactions occurring in this larger volume in the first place. If we do a little bit of math here between these two models, I'm going to use popular cube models instead of egg-shaped models because it's a little faster for me to do surface area and volume calculations. See how here there is a big difference in surface area to volume in this smaller model? 6-to-1 ratio. That means the surface area in this small model is 6 times more than the volume. Look at this beautiful ratio with so much surface area. But if we look at this bigger cube and we do some math for this model, that surface area to volume ratio decreases. Sure, the surface area is still larger than the volume in the large model, but it's only 2 times as large now, not 6 times as large. Cells are way smaller than this small model here to allow for an exceptionally large surface area to volume ratio. And a major reason why we're not going to find a cell as big as this chicken egg here. Surface area is important. And while we can model a lot of the processes of cell transport from this egg membrane and how important the membrane is, I don't want to neglect talking about the amazing cell membrane structure itself, because the cell membrane structure truly is magnificent. And since every single living thing is made up of one or more cells, which is part of the cell theory, it's a big deal because every single cell has a membrane. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about bacteria or protists or plants or animals or fungi. Even archaea aren't too cool to have a membrane. They all have a cell membrane. The structure can vary some, but we're going to be talking about some major structures of the membrane that you can actually find in most cells. We should mention that the fluid mosaic model is often what we use to describe the cell membrane. A mosaic, in case you've ever created one, we did in some of our art classes over time, arranges many small pieces together to make some large piece. You'll see that that makes sense when describing the membrane in a minute. The word fluid implies movement, and this is true for the cell membrane as the components are floating around, they're not static. So let's take a look at some of these components in the cell membrane. We're looking first at a phospholipid bilayer.
We talked
A
about this.
phospholipid is a lipid, but an interesting one. So when you talk about a lipid in general, many lipids are nonpolar. Think of oil, for example. It's nonpolar. It won't dissolve in water. Water is polar. But a phospholipid is interesting because one part of it is polar, the head, and the other part of it is nonpolar, the tail. It's amphiphilic. Let's explain what we mean. We often refer to the polar head of the phospholipid as hydrophilic, which means that part loves water. Well, you know, if a lipid could love. The nonpolar tails are hydrophobic. They do not like water. These phospholipids arrange themselves into a phospholipid bilayer with the nonpolar areas here in between, away from...
I just want to pause it there just so that we're aware of what that means. You see on the upper half there, it says outside the cell, and on the lower half it says inside the cell, just so that we're aware. That's what makes up that membrane. So when I made that drawing yesterday, okay, I have my cell, okay, and then we took out a small cutout here. All right. All right, then we had, I'm just going to do like 4 or 5 of them.
Why didn't you just draw the wall with them? So we would understand better.
That would take so long.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Like when you're drawing the cell, draw not a huge circle, but draw a medium sized circle. And then
Oh.
just draw.
It'd take
them.
longer. Yeah, longer.
And
Take
take
long.
like
I think you should, I'm counting on you being in 7th grade being able to understand this is a cutout of here. So this is outside
I heard somebody say they didn't.
and this is an inside, okay? So if you don't understand it, that's fine. It'll take some time. So imagine here's my inside. Here's all of this, right?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay, gotcha. And maybe, I think tomorrow you're teaching. Cool?
Okay.
All right. Okay, right there. And then outside. So, in the middle here, non-polar, that's where the water is expelled. She gave those lipids having those legs, those tails, I mean, having like hissing at the water. They don't like
Permanent
water.
water. It also allows this area in between to be separated from the outside and inside. Water can be found on the inside and outside.
So water
areas.
can be on both sides.
Also, these
Can't be on in
phospholipids,
the membrane.
they don't just stay put. They move around. It's the fluid mosaic model after all. This gives the cell membrane flexibility. Phospholipids can even flip-flop around, but that's far less common. Remember that this entire phospholipid bilayer borders the
Another great picture there if you're not understanding it. Okay. So there's the cell, inside, outside, and the phospholipid bilayer. Makes sense? We will look at some cells later. It's kind of hard to see on that small of a scale, though.
Yeah.
If you have a very powerful microscope, yes, you can.
the whole cell. It would be a sphere, even though we're just looking at one area of it. We have an entire video that talks about which molecules can go in and out of this membrane and which ones can't that you can view. But for now, we're going to look at some of the other structures more in depth. Cholesterol. You know, cholesterol often gets a bad reputation. And while cholesterol that builds up in the arteries can be a problem, cholesterol in your cell membrane is critical. If temperatures drop, the cholesterol can actually function kind of like spacers between these phospholipids, keeping them from becoming too packed. Or vice versa, the cholesterol can actually function to connect phospholipids to keep them from becoming too fluid in warm temperatures. Proteins. In protein synthesis, we talk about why it's so important for cells to make proteins. Many proteins are found in or on the cell membrane, and they play major roles. Peripheral proteins, like the name suggests, tend to be on the peripheral area of the membrane. So while they're on exterior areas of the membrane, they generally are not going to go through the membrane. That's for integral proteins. Integral proteins go through the membrane. Oh, and peripheral proteins can sit on them sometimes. Because of location, these proteins tend to have different functions. Integral proteins, with their potential to go through the membrane, are frequently involved in all kinds of transporting methods for all kinds of materials. Some relevance? Consider the breakfast you ate this morning. Your body digested what you ate for breakfast to obtain glucose. Once in the bloodstream, those glucose molecules can't just squeeze through the phospholipid bilayer to enter all of your cells. The glucose molecules are too big and polar. But your cells need glucose to survive, to make ATP, and they rely on integral proteins to get it. Peripheral proteins tend to be more loosely attached, since they're generally not stuck in the membrane. They have an assortment of functions, such as acting as enzymes to speed up reactions, or attaching to the cytoskeleton structures to help with cell shape. Both protein types can have carbohydrates bound to them, which can make them considered a go protein.
We're getting a little bit more in depth than we need to there. But what you need to understand is proteins can sit on the membrane. The membrane can allow can allow things in and out. It decides what can come in and out. Okay, and that's an important part of the cell membrane. Okay, now, all right, so that is the cell membrane. Those three jobs. The cytoplasm, is anybody confused? Sorry. I think cytoplasm is one of the easier things to grasp. It is what fills the whole cell, right?
Yeah.
It's just a jelly-like substance. Is anybody confused on that? I mean, feel free. I'll definitely go talk about it. And then finally, we have the nucleus. Did we get through all of this yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, nucleus is arguably the most important part of your cell. Controls the life processes, especially reproduction. Cancer is the uncontrolled reproduction of cells. Okay, that's why we have that there. Cancer cells are their own cells, and they continually reproduce. We can't stop them from reproducing. What does that cause? Well, it takes up space, right, for the healthy cells. And healthy cells aren't able to live. Okay, those cancer cells continue, and they make like tumors and masses in bodies, right? Anyone ever heard of people having cancerous tumors, right? Okay, and that's because these cells just mass up and they're inside your body and can stop your organs from doing their job. Okay, that's why the nucleus is important in your healthy cells. It controls reproduction of the cells. Go ahead, Sophia.
My uncle died. He has like little tumors all over his body.
Uh-huh.
And the cells like build up.
Yep.
And like he has to get them removed probably.
Okay.
And like would that like remove all the cells? Or like, would that hurt him?
So that's like removing those cells that have reproduced a little too much and just produce mass that is not necessary. Like there are benign tumors as well, tumors that aren't necessarily gonna hurt your health. Okay.
Not bad, but they're not good.
Right. Yes. So when you're removing that, you're just removing an excess amount of cells that your body doesn't need. Corbin, go ahead.
Just 2 years ago, actually, my mom had found out she had skin cancer.
Yeah. Yep. So that's one that affects a lot of people as well. Cancer is, you probably don't know anybody that doesn't know somebody who at least had cancer. Okay. The nucleus is not part of the cytoplasm. It's separated from the cytoplasm. It has its own membrane around it. So imagine you're looking at this nucleus here. Okay. It's just a circle right now. It also has a membrane on the outside. Nuclear membrane.
Nuclear membrane.
Okay. And it can decide what goes in and out of the nucleus as well. Does that make sense? It's like a smaller version of a cell membrane. All right. And then, of course, it contains DNA. I'm just making DNA strands here. Okay. That DNA codes everything in life. Okay. We have A, T, C, and G. Questions on that? These are the three main parts of the cell. Could you be able to explain each of those what those things do? That's your success criteria for today. So right now, in the next 3 minutes, I want you to turn and talk with people. I'll let you find someone around the room. Turn and talk with them and tell each other what each of those things do. If you need to look at your notes, go ahead. You got 3 minutes to talk about 3 different things. For anybody who's watching this online, there's my kind of drawing. Hi, Ada. Tell me what the nucleus does.
It's kind of like the brain of the cell.
Okay, and what does the brain of cell control?
Okay, like what? Controls like reproduction, right? Cell reproduction or cell split and make more cells. Okay. All right, Zach, what's another part of the cell? Cell membrane, what does it do? Yeah, what does it do though? What does it do for the cell?
What are you doing, Corbin? Read it.
Corbin,
What?
you have
Oh, you said so. Yeah, 3 minutes. I'm working on it.
Three important jobs. Good. What's the last one? They said nucleus and cell membrane. Cytoplasm, what does that do? Or what is it? What's the cytoplasm do? You took notes on it. What is it?
Most of the cell parts are located in there, and most activities take place there.
Okay, it's the jelly-like substance that fills the cell. All right, I need you to return to your seat. All right, now what I need you to do. Thank you. I think that was good. Being able to explain it to another person is a little bit different than just memorizing it, okay? So what I need you to do now is get your textbook out, turn to page 42. 42. And we're going to read about a textbook entry, something that we have already talked about. So it's going to be like review. It's going to be easy peasy. All right. Page 42 and 43. You're going to do questions 1 through 7. All right. Yes, have another one. You can do it. Tomorrow you can do a lab. You have to look at onions and such underneath the microscope. Stretch's going to love it. So turn to a new page. Get it labeled. Here we go.
42, 43.
42 and 43. The question we're asking today is, what are the main cell parts? You can already answer this question, right? And down. Thank you, though.
I thought you asked.
Yep. Identify the main parts of a cell and describe their functions. Very easy. Look at our key terms right there. Look at our key terms. You already know all of those. Okay? Nuclear membrane is one we didn't hit as hard, but I'll also read the nuclear membrane. This is a thin structure that surrounds and protects the nucleus. But you know what the cell membrane does. You know what the cytoplasm is, and you know what the nucleus does. Okay? What I want you to notice about nucleus is plural. The plural form of nucleus, if there's more than one nucleus, it's not nucleuses, it's nuclei. Pretty cool, right? Okay. It's one of those weird Greek/Latin words. Okay, 3 main parts. Most cells have 3 main parts. The 3 main parts of the cell are shown in figure 2-8. They are the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, and the nucleus. Each of these main cell parts has a special and important job to do. Okay, there we go. It's showing it. This is a 3D version of it. I've been drawing 2D because I'm not as good as drawing 3D. But you can see the whole cell, outer layer cell membrane. In there we have the nucleus. The cytoplasm is what fills the entire thing. It's like a big ball of jelly goo. All right. Next, we have cell membrane. The cell membrane is a thin structure that surrounds a cell. Sometimes it is called the plasma membrane. We talked about that yesterday too. The cell membrane has three important jobs. It protects the inside of a cell. 1, it supports and gives a cell its shape. 2, the cell membrane also controls the movement of materials into and out of a cell. 3, that is exactly what you have in your notes. So, do you need to take notes in this class?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Okay, don't rely on yourself just memorizing everything. Okay, next, food, water, and oxygen move through the cell membrane into the cell. Wastes move out of the cell through the cell membrane. Look at figure 2-9. Notice that the cell membrane surrounds the cell. There you go. Look at that. That looks similar to like the cheek cells that we will be looking at. Okay, nice. Spoiler alert. Here we go. Cytoplasm has like 3 sentences on it in this because they pretty much think that you can understand it. Most cell parts are located in the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is this gel-like substance that is constantly moving. It's like a jelly that's just like, flubbering around, okay? Most of the activities in the cell take place in the cytoplasm. So here is a cytoplasm a cell that's been dyed, this D-Y-E-D, like it's been colored, so that it's easier to see the different organelles. And the cytoplasm is dyed yellow here. You can see how it takes up almost the whole cell. Cool? All right. Finally, the nucleus. The nucleus of a cell is round or egg-shaped. Most cells have a nucleus. The nucleus is the control center of a cell. It controls all the life processes of a cell. The nucleus also controls cell reproduction. Very important, right? The nucleus is separated from the cytoplasm by the nuclear membrane. It is a thin structure that surrounds and protects the nucleus. The nuclear membrane also controls the movement of materials into and out of the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, there are blueprints called DNA. DNA contains the instructions for how the cell is supposed to function. Okay? What would happen if the nucleus was taken out or was destroyed to the cell? What do you think, Casey?
You will pass.
The cell will die, yeah. So the cell would definitely die. Very good. All right. All right. You can be kind of jotting these down. Did you want to share the first one, Olivia? Yeah, sure.
The nucleus?
Yeah. So number 1, all life processes of a cell are controlled by the nucleus. Very good. Number 2, I know I'm asking you to just kind of speed right here. If you don't finish today, that's okay. We can take some time to finish another day, but I'm just going to call on people and see if we can answer these together as a class, because we have hit this very hard in the last 2 days. Carter, 3 main parts of the cell are the nucleus, the cell membrane, and the
Cytoplasm?
very good, cytoplasm is the answer to number 2. Number 3, the cell membrane controls the blank of materials into and out of a cell. Looks like I'm answering that one. That's movement. Number 3 is movement. By the way, all 3 of these, 4 of those, 5, 6 out of the 7 you have done already, or have taken notes on already. Okay, so let's go to number 4. Most cell parts are located in the cytoplasm, right? There you go. Number 5, this part is in your notes again. What cell part controls reproduction? That is the nucleus. Number 6, this is one where you have to think about it on your own, kind of. How are the cell membrane and nuclear membrane similar? Yeah, Corbin.
They're both gelatin.
I would not say that as much as something else. What do you think?
They both protect something?
They both protect something. The nuclear membrane surrounds the nucleus. Cell membrane surrounds the cell. And then number 7 was draw a model of the cell. Label 3 main parts. You can do that this will take you 30 seconds. Number 7 goes like this. Cell membrane, nucleus, bingo. So then I label it cell membrane.
Why isn't the nucleus in the center?
Doesn't have to be.
It's usually not.
This is nucleus.
Nuclear.
And then you point to any part of the cell and that is cytoplasm.
Unless they're pointing to one of the other organs, unless they're pointing to an organ.
There you go. Did that take me 30 seconds? Maybe.
29.
All right, people. If you did not finish, I apologize. I know I rushed you. We can take some time on Thursday to help you finish, okay? Most of us, it looks like we got a decent portion of it done. Thank you for a great day. A lot of sitting and hit today. Tomorrow we get a lab. All right. Woo-hoo.
Yay!
All right. Have a great day. Have a great day.
Yeah.
It's not the best thing in the world. What you talking about?
All right. Let's stop this meeting now.
What IE do we go to?
Hold on a sec. I have it right here for you.